Welcome back to Yvonne Winifred Yuji, my beautiful fashionistas. Hope you are so great. Today's video is inspired by this beautiful dress. It has a high collar, halter collar, and it has a gathered piece down as you see. So let's start the video. So I have my pieces front and back. Each is folded into two, and as usual I have my back larger than the front because the back has a zipper allowance there. After the center front there is this back with this zipper allowance. So guys, I've left some allowance at the top and I marked my shoulder line. So on this shoulder line I'm marking half of the shoulder measurement. So guys, usually I use 8 inches, but since this is a sleeveless dress, I'm going to reduce it by 1 inch. You can reduce it by 1.5 inches, but I'll be reducing it by 1 inch and I'm marking at 7 inches. That is what I'm going to be using. So from top there, I'm going down by half of the armhole measurement. In this case I used 8 inches, and whatever I marked at the shoulder line on top here, starting from the center front, I mark it down at the chest line where the half of the armhole measurement stopped, and then I go down by a straight line like this so that I can carve the armhole. So on top here I'm taking off 1 inch. That will be for the shoulder slant. It will be connected into the neckline, and for the neck width I'm marking 3 inches, and for the neck front depth I'm marking 3 inches, and then 1 inch for the back, and then it will be carved. So guys, for the front neck depth you can even use 2 inches and 3/4 of an inch. That is 2.75 if somebody is really petite. So after there I just connect the shoulder slant as I told you before. So I add half an inch for the sewing allowance at the shoulder there, and then connect. Make sure you add that, never forget. So guys, continuing, I have here at this line, whatever I have remaining, I mark its midpoint, and at that midpoint I move in by half an inch for a medium-sized person, and I carve accordingly just as you see for the front armhole. And at that midpoint where we marked, I carve the back armhole just like that. So they are different. So from there I just divide the bust measurement by 4 inches, and I add just 1 inch for the sewing because that won't be going up to the bust or the chest line. So now for the waistline guys, I add 1 inch for the dart plus the 1 inch for the sewing allowance after dividing the waist measurement by 4, and then I carve like that. I enjoy carving the sides, but if you want you can just do a straight line. So now I mark where the dart will be. That is the half of the nipple to nipple measurement plus half an inch. So I notch that point for ease as I will be sewing the dart in. So guys, after that I just cut out, starting with the back markings first like this, and then I separate my two pieces and then finish up with the front armhole and the front neckline like that. So this is the front and this is the back. So for the back, I'm going down here and mark half an inch at the center back and connect it to the tip of the center back. So the half inch that I've reduced is only at the waistline, not at the neckline up here. It's only at the waistline. Then I cut out. This will help me not to have a bulge or the excess fabric at the center back after all the sewing. So guys, now I can start cutting out the bottom pieces or the skirt pieces of the dress. So folded into two, I have my two pieces. The back has a zipper allowance, just as we did for the front. So front and back, they are both folded into two. So now guys, for the length of the skirt pieces, I have allowance on top there, and I marked the waistline, and from the waistline I used the hip line of 9 inches, from the waistline, but I added 1 inch, and from that 1 inch I also added the sewing allowance at the bottom. So that is what we are doing. So guys, I can just bring my top piece and just put it along the waistline for the skirt and just mark the waistline just like that. But if you want, you can do all the other process and also mark where the dart is, simply like that, just to save time. So the waistline is marked. So from the waistline I can just connect into the sides to the where the hip line is, like that. So I'm using the entire hip, the entire fabric. So I have the hip measurement, divided it by 4 plus 1 inch for sewing allowance, but at the waistline I have a dart allowance. So this is what I have, guys, and I want to curve this waistline for this front skirt piece. So I'm just going to mark 1/2 inch, and then at the center front only 1/2 inch into the side. So the 1/2 inch is only at the center front, for a correct waistline. So remember, we have our dart placement there. I can just notch it out. That is for the front, and the other one is the back. So those are my pieces, guys. They are lining properly, and now I can correct this back piece. Remember, we removed 1/2 inch for the top piece for the back, so I have to do it even for the skirt piece. So I mark off the 1/2 inch we reduced and connect going down. The 1/2 inch is only at the waistline, guys, for the top piece and the bottom piece, which is the skirt. And then I separate my back pieces like that. So I have 2 top pieces for the back and 2 skirt pieces for the back, separate into 2, because we will have a zipper. So now, guys, these are my pieces, and I'll start by taking in the darts. So the front dart is always, it stops at 1 inch below the bust line, not the chest line, guys, but the bust line. 1 inch below the bust line, and the bust line is about 2 inches below the chest line. So I'll take in the darts for the skirt pieces also, that is front and back. It is the guys, and after there I'll just join the shoulders so that I can create some bias strips to finish up the armholes, like that, and also cut out the halter collar. So guys, after all the joinings, this is what I have. My darts are aligning for the top and bottom pieces. They have two, guys, and that is for the front and back. And I also joined the shoulders. So this is what I have so far. This is what I've joined, and these are my bias strips for finishing up the armhole. So to sew up these bias strips, I will get my bias strip. It is about 1.5 inches in width, and I'll get the right side of the bust strip onto the wrong side of the main piece, the main dress, and then join by 1/2 inch, and then flip it onto the right side of the dress and just top stitch simply like that for both armholes. So now guys, for the neckline, remember we have a halter collar, the high collar. This is the strip that I have. It is 4 inches in width. On fold it is 2 inches and half inch for the joining. So after finishing, the collar will be 1.5 inches, and you can add stiff if you want, or any thickening in between the collar. You can cut it on bias, you know, for a correct top-notch collar. So guys, that is what I have. I'll be taking all these pieces for joining, and to finish up the dress, we have a gathered piece, you know, here at the, you know, 1 inch after the hip line. So I'll get the measurement of this entire, you know, hemline, and then multiply it by 3 inches or 2.5. So guys, this is what I have, the fabric that I'm going to use for the gathering. I'll just run, I'll run a gathering stitch, you know, a loose stitch at the sewing machine, and gather up this fabric and join it onto the main dress. So mine are 2 separate pieces, one for the front and the other is for the back. And my length is not as short as the one we see in the thumbnail picture. So guys, now I have my zipper joined so that I can finish up the back, and these are my gathered pieces. So my gathered piece is a little bit longer in length. It is not as short as the one in the thumbnail picture, and the collar is joined. The armholes are finished, as you see, and now what I have remaining is to join the gathered pieces onto the front and back pieces accordingly, as you see. And after that joining, I'll take in the sides by 1 inch that we left, and then for the hemline I'll double fold by 1 inch to have such a finished dress. So everything is now joined together, and this is how the dress looks like. This is the back, that is the zipper. It is a metallic zipper, golden in color, just as the colors in the dress. And guys, I like what I see. I love what I see. I'll just finish the inside by overlocking everywhere, and the dress looks like this, beautiful. If you have any comments, please, in the comment section, just write them below. Any additions, any supplements, anything you want to talk about this dress. And this is how it came about, guys. It is for a medium-sized person, and this is how it looks like at the dummy, ready for sale at my store. And at the back, you know, I just have a peg behind because this dress form is not for such a size of the dress, but otherwise it came out beautiful. Thanks so much for watching. Yvonne Winifred Yuji. Go on and subscribe and like this video, and I will see you soon.